Okay, hello everyone. My name is Ben Greiner. I'm with Forget Computers, and I also have on the call with us Nathan Ramseth, part of our team. Nathan, you want to say hi?
Hello, everyone.
And Chad Calise, who works with us from a security standpoint. Chad, you want to say hi?
Hi, afternoon.
And I want to thank everyone for whether you're listening to us live or you're listening to the recording later. I just want to thank you for joining us because our goal in all of this is to really help you get the most out of your technology, help you be efficient and effective. And we really can't do that without communication. In fact, my team hears me say this a lot. There are very few technical issues. There are mostly communication issues. So we really value both you participating in this session and your feedback, whether it's now or later, sending any ideas you have for what you want to get out of our services. In fact, one of the goals that we're trying to establish going forward and have been for a while now is working to be more educational rather than simply informational. And it may sound like we're splitting hairs there, but it's very easy for us to dump a lot of information on clients who are out there in the world. But we really want to try to take that to the next level and be educational. So if you have ideas on how we can help you in the area of educating you around technology, please let us know. I
I
want
think
to take.
that's a good point. Oh,
Oh,
sorry, go
thanks,
ahead.
Chad. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I just think that's really important, and I don't know that it can be overstated because educating each other is really the only solution. Elevating our understanding of how the SWAT works and what vulnerabilities look like, from a security perspective. I mean, that's really the focus. It's the only thing that really works, and we can send links and give presentations all day long, but without real stories and a way to transmit these ideas in a way that this education in a way that has value to people on a personal level. It really, none of this is about technology. It's really about, I think your point is what you're saying is it's really about people. It's about relationships, and it's easy to lose sight of that sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. And in fact, I want to mention a little bit about what I did this summer related to that topic. I was in Australia, and by the way, I just started sharing my screen. Nathan, can you confirm that you can see my screen?
Yep, looks good.
Okay.
X World.
So this summer, I was invited to Sydney, Australia, to talk at X World, and I'll be sending out a link to everyone who's on this call and part of the recording of how to get here and see the video, which was just released this week. Actually, it's a pre-release; it's not publicly available yet, but I can send you the link. And I spoke on a very non-technical topic, one of the few talks there, maybe the only talk there that was not technical, and it was all about communication. So even though that was geared towards technology professionals, I think it is maybe relevant to anyone out there, especially anyone using
Absolutely.
technology today, which is pretty much
Yeah.
all of us. So I'm going to share that video, and there's also I was able to do a lightning talk. One of the speakers couldn't make it, so we had to fill some time. And I did a 7-minute lightning talk. And if that's all you have time for, 7 minutes, I recommend you watch the lightning talk. It's all about our process for using checklists. And checklists are a huge part of what we do to deliver our service in a consistent, reliable way. And I think checklists are things that could be used in a lot of industries, maybe a lot of our client locations, if they're done right. So that talk is definitely worth watching. Um, I want to talk briefly about our team, just as a refresher. We have a great team. If you haven't met all of us yet, you can go to our website and click on the About page, and you'll see photos of our team members. And for those of you who don't know, Brian Prince left us recently. He got a job at Motorola. Congratulations to Brian. Fantastic opportunity for him. And in his place, we have hired Olin Langley, who just started this week. So you're going to start seeing his name or talking to him, whether it's on the phone or in the field. And Olin comes from us, like a lot of our recent hires. He comes from the Apple Store, the North Michigan Apple Store, where he's been a genius for 10 years at that location. So now he's with Forget Computers. We welcome him, and we have another new hire starting on Monday. Her name is Michelle Charles. We don't have her up on the page yet. And strangely enough, Michelle Charles will join Michelle Luke. So we will have two Michelles, we will have two Nathans, and we will have two Chris's. I don't understand. That was not planned. I don't know how that happened. But that is the current situation, and it's kind of bizarre. Uh, Speaking of North Michigan Avenue, the Apple Store at North Michigan Avenue, if you don't know this, their new store is opening October 20th, and it's right on the river. It already looks amazing, and I can't wait to check it out. They're going to be closing down the the North Michigan Avenue store that they currently have and moving everything to the new location. Um, okay, let's see. What are we going to talk about? So, I do want to, we have limited time with Chad, I do want to mention that security, it is on the rise. We're hearing about it almost every day in the news. And that's one of the reasons why Chad and I put together a program earlier this year to help our clients with security. So, Chad, do you mind just saying a few words about that? Because I think you're really good at
No, not at
explaining
all.
this.
Not at all. Thanks, Ben. You know, it cybersecurity is dead. We don't really believe. Nobody believes in cybersecurity anymore. I think, in light of even things like Equifax breaches, notwithstanding. I mean, we've been reading about all this schwack for years. That our personally identifiable information that's held in regency by all these other big companies, and we don't really have any control over the kinds of decisions that they make. Right? That's out of our control. What's in our control is how we respond to those kinds of incidents. And so when you hear me talk about cybersecurity, you're going to hear me not say even that word cybersecurity. You're going to hear me talk about cyber resilience. And the difference between cybersecurity and cyber resilience is pretty stark. Cybersecurity is, while we're going to continue to, forward the concepts of defense and prevention and governance and all those good things with compliance frameworks, conceding to say that we can prevent cyber attacks and cyber incidents 100% of the time is just not honest or realistic. Resilience is the philosophy that, hey, this stuff is going to happen. We're humans. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to click on the link sometimes, in
Right.
spite of our best, intentions. But I think we'll all sleep better at night when we have a plan in place on how to respond to those things when they happen, because they will happen. And so cyber resilience and the kinds of things that Ben and I put together for the small enterprise is really focused on those kinds of solutions. Like, we don't need to bring, Ben's tired of hearing me talk about bringing tanks to knife fights, but most of the tools in the cybersecurity culture are really built for the medium and large enterprises, and they're priced accordingly, and their complexity and all of those things are kind of according to a corporate sort of culture and user experience. And there really isn't a lot out there that's friendly, that transmits these ideas and these strategies to keep ourselves safe first, and our families and our friends, and then let those good practices translate into the way we work. And so our philosophy is different. A lot of the philosophy with cybersecurity went the other way. It's like you learn things that work and you're supposed to take them home. I've never really seen that be successful. You guys may have had a different experience, but the only things that I've seen be successful are to give people practical tools they can use in their everyday lives with their families and when they're at home in a personal way, and let that translate into the way that they work. And that includes having a plan when something happens, and protecting our reputations is a big part of that, and that of our clients, protecting our clients' reputations and their expectations, and of course the bottom line. And so that's what cyber resilience is all about.
Yeah, and I just pulled up our website, but we link to your website, Whimsical Chat. And I just want to point out to everyone who listens to this, if you're ready to get serious about security, please contact us. Step number one is really the cyber resilience diagnostic that Chad and I put together. And then step two is using the tools that if you work with us, you already have most of those tools available to you to become more secure in your office environment. It's just that for us to instill that security or push that security on you without this background, it's not
It's
always a good
challenging.
experience. It's
Yeah, it's
challenging.
challenging. It's
Yeah.
cultural. Again, it comes down to people, and it, the challenge with cyber resilience and cyber crime is, the bad guys don't ever start with technology. They start with our people, and they exploit us in ways that we look back, after things happen and think, oh my god, I can't believe I fell for that. Whether it was a phishing email or some other sort of a thing that happens that is otherwise preventable. But defining, the biggest challenge that I've seen, the last few years of doing this kind of work is, business leaders are very busy with the strategy and guiding the business and the direction that they need to go, and it's easy to lose our grasp on how the business operates and all the ins and outs and the details of defining how the business works and what the crown jewels are, what the most valuable parts of the business are, and what the greatest vulnerabilities are to those valuable pieces. And so it's a very practical approach. It's not adding complexity. It's really about simplifying things and using to Ben's point, using tools that are already available to you. It's just really taking a step back and looking at some of the things that are maybe missing or things that we could do better. And it's easy. You can learn a lot about it if you just Google cyber resilience Chicago. You'll find a lot of information. If you're a Chicago-based business or anywhere, right? Cyber resilience, you'll find this is the focus now. It's really about how do we respond when something happens, and when we don't have a plan, that's not awesome because our clients are going to blame us because we didn't think it through, we didn't do our due diligence, and so a lot of it is just like Ben spends a lot of time in the woods and enjoys camping, and I moved to Chicago from Alaska, so I'm just kind of built to be in the outdoors. I'm a former wilderness guide and experienced guide, and I use those analogies a lot. When we head off into the woods, with or without kids, or even on our own, there's a couple things that we really need to be mindful of. Whether it's bring a raincoat, bring some rain gear with us, an extra roll of TP. There's certain things that we would never do when we head off into the woods for a weekend, and it's the same with business now. That these virtual forests that we live in and work in every day, they have some good practices that are worthwhile, and that's really what Ben and I have set out to do, that in friendly ways that can add some value to your organization very quickly and effectively and cost efficiently as well.
Yeah, right. Well, thanks, Chad. And so once again, if you're concerned about security, let us know. There's a great way to get started and to learn more, and for us to help you on that journey. And related to that, and I'll put some links in the follow up email on this. Equifax, I don't know how they say it, had a huge
Well, they have a
data
lot of
leak.
other words to call on it nowadays.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
probably inappropriate for the
that's right.
for the show. Yeah.
A huge data leak this week, and related to that, a lot of people are working to freeze access to their credit to protect their identity. I personally have tried to do some of that. It's a challenge. I'll post the links on how to do it. I'll continue to try to do it for myself and to help anyone out there who needs help with that. Um, but we have to be diligent and aware, and I can't stress that enough. We only have a couple more minutes before we need to, actually, one more minute before we need to transition to the next phase of our call today. So I just want to mention a few things. One, Apple's releasing a bunch of products. If you haven't watched the keynote, go to apple.com. You can watch the keynote. If you have an Apple TV, you can watch the keynote on there. You're going to see a lot of products coming out. You're going to see some OS updates. The big one is Mac OS 10.13, also called High Sierra. That's coming September 25th. I cannot stress enough that if you are running a work computer in a work environment, I do not recommend installing High Sierra. Uh, give it time. Let everyone else test it. Test it on your home machine. Test it on a spare machine if you have it. Let us test it and give you feedback. But don't rush out and install that new OS because you just don't know what's going to happen. Uh, what Nathan? What would you say? Traditionally, it's at least 3 months before all the problems sort of start to die down after a new OS upgrade. Would you say?
Yeah, that's valid. I would say at least allowing a patch release, getting to a .1, potentially .2. It really depends on what bugs surface, but we ourselves do test, just like Ben said, in virtual environments. We get some real hardware on it, and then if we're not seeing the issues, we start to roll it out. But let's not jump on it day one. Let's let those early adopters kind of fall on their face and learn from that experience.
Yeah. Okay, great. So the plan, this is a new plan for us. Once a month, we get together, we have some discussions. Already, this feels a little short. We may have to lengthen it, but 15 minutes focused on forget computers. We've just accomplished that. We're now going to transition to robot cloud. Some of this stuff overlaps. Some of this stuff is the same, but it's going to be a little more technical, and it's going to be focused on uh, those clients of ours who work exclusively with us on the robot cloud platform. That's our software as a service. Now, to be fair, every Forget Computers customer out there also uses Robot Cloud. You may not know it or not, but we manage that on the back end. And Robot Cloud is a way for us to automate a lot of the tools that make security policies execute on machines, and install software and patch software, and allow us to really um, help people with their technology. So we're going to transition to that. And what I want to start with is just letting everyone know, and this goes cross-platform, forget computers and Robot Cloud, is Dashboard. Everyone who has a Robot Cloud subscription has access to Dashboard. And if I could figure out how to hide my little Ring Central meeting. There we go. No, there we go. Okay. So dashboard, I'm going to log into, actually, I'm going to go into our website, and I'm going to go into our demo of dashboard rather than the back end of dashboard. But if you're a primary contact with Forget Computers, or if you're a Robot Cloud subscriber, you have access to dashboard. If you don't have access to dashboard, reach out to us, let us know, we'll get you access to dashboard. When you log into dashboard, you're going to see a summary of information. Yours is going to look different than this. But everyone who has a dashboard account, I recommend that you go up to the top right-hand corner. You're going to see your name. You're going to click on that and go to your profile. And there's a new checkbox that says subscribe to weekly report. Please check that box and save your profile. What that's going to do is every week it's going to email you a summary of what's going on in your dashboard. And we're going to continue to update that summary. In fact, we have one in the pipeline now that's going to put a percentage on there to make things even easier to read. But you do have to opt in. You have to check that box. And if you have any questions about that, like how can you limit what you see? Because if you have a lot of devices that you manage, like we do, you may not want to see them all. You may only want to see a subset. Reach out to us and we can help you figure that out. So let's see. Nathan, you and I had talked previously about talking over some concepts around Robot Cloud. Are you ready to talk about those?
Sure.
Okay. And I'm full transparency. I'm looking for my notes right now on exactly what we decided, because we talked about a bunch of different things that we were going to discuss.
Potentially one of them was the Apple software assistant.
Yeah, let's do that. Apple software assistant, especially as before we do that, let's talk briefly about High Sierra, September 25th. We will do our best to put a friendly block on that, right?
Correct.
So in the past, what we've done is we've blocked OS upgrades from launching unless anyone opts out of that. And 9 times out of 10, that's a great solution. The one risk to that block is you offend somebody because they feel like, hey, this is my machine. Why are you blocking me from doing something? Obviously, that's never our intent. Our intent is to protect our customers, and something that's harmful, potentially harmful as an OS upgrade, is dangerous. So we want them to understand 100% what they're getting into, and if they want that block removed, we can remove it. So right now, if anyone on the Robot Cloud side or even on the Forget Computer side wants to be opted out, let's have that conversation. Let's avoid putting the block in place, but we will do our best to block it. Now, I say do our best because, Nathan, occasionally Apple changes something at the very last second, and the block that worked all through the beta suddenly doesn't work. We had that happen once, didn't we?
Correct. And one quick clarification, Ben. On the Forget Computer side of things, for our MSP clients here in Chicago, we do have that friendly, we're here to encourage communication, not block you from doing this. We just want to ensure we're planning these smooth transitions for OS upgrades. For the robot cloud side of things, the rest of our clients throughout the world using the tool set, it is an opt-in. At least it has been.
Okay.
So you are welcome to. If you would like us to enforce that block, we can happily do so. Just feel free to reach out, email, call, whatever is helpful. But yes,
Yeah, thanks for clarifying that. So it's opt-in for Robot Cloud. It's opt-out for Forget Computers. And what I'll do, I'll send an email out to all Robot Cloud customers and see if they do want to opt in before the 25th, or see how they want to handle that.
if you have an existing block for the previous OS upgrade, we will put in the new one. We'll just update the logic. There are a couple clients in that bucket, but if you do not have an existing for Robot Cloud clients, we will not enforce one without your approval.
Yeah, that's a great idea. We'll keep the existing if there's one. We'll still reach out to everyone. So yeah, let's talk about. I'm going to turn the mic over to you, Nathan, and if you could give a little background on our Apple software updates. Is that what we're calling it?
Yeah, no problem, Ben. Thanks. We are calling it internally, I guess, the Apple Software Assistant. Now, in the past, for any of us who've been a Robot Cloud client for the duration, or at least a few years, we used to do software updates in a very war of attrition sort of method, as in, hey, we're going to try to check for updates once a week, and we're going to run those on the weekend if we catch Macs in a certain state and they're able to run those. Now, with security concerns, the rest of the call we've had up to this point becoming a bigger deal, we want to make sure we're getting those Macs patched. Now, with that being said, these days we're leveraging Apple's built-in mechanism for software updates, and we're adding some logic. We're calling it Apple Software Assistant on our end of things in Robot Cloud. What that means is we are checking for updates on a daily basis, and if there is no restart required, we are applying them. Everything happens behind the scenes. The user is really, doesn't need to be aware, because we're just applying those to make sure everything becomes current and nice and secure, and we're compatible. If we're requiring a restart, there's a little more logic involved. Now, if there is no user logged in, we apply that that update, and we restart the Mac, because there's no open documents. There's nothing to be concerned of in that sense. I will say my Mac, my own work Mac, is involved in this, and it's quite a pleasure to just kind of stroll into work in the morning and notice your Mac is fully patched and ready to go, and you never really have to run into that. If there is a user logged in, our logic is going to say, oh, can't apply this at this time. We're going to go ahead and try again tomorrow. So the key here is a little bit of education with your users. Hey, we got a lot of mobile Macs. We're not all desktops plugged in, and we're moving around these days. A lot more sleep than we are powered off, or in that sense, signed out. But we're going to want to try to educate our users to both help us support them to keep everything current, secure, and behind the scenes. So if we can help to get a log out every once in a while, it doesn't have to be daily, potentially, plan one once a week. It's going to try once a day, and it's going to go ahead and apply that if possible. And we can definitely go into that in more detail, but that's the gist of it. There's a little more logic behind the scenes, but we're really just trying to passively, but in a slightly more Apple sense, push those updates to try to keep things secure and up to date.
Yeah, and because of security, I know a lot of our corporate clients, they want things patched more aggressively. So that's been one of the motivators behind this. And of course, we run this on our own machines, and Nathan, I agree. It's nice to come into my notebook, which, to be honest, I rarely restart or log out of unless I have to, and to see that it's updated, patched, or prompting me to, like, hey, now's you just got to do it. In order to get this update, you got to restart your machine. So that's been great. I was just looking on our website for anyone following along online. We are in the process of moving our Robot Cloud operations manual from basically hosted at Screen Steps to our support center through our Zendesk platform. So support.forgetcomputers.com is where you'll start to see articles focused on Robot Cloud. We have other articles there as well from Forget Computers. Unfortunately, we have them in two places now, and occasionally you'll go to an article and it might say, this article is moved and it will point to Zendesk. We're hoping to wind screen steps down and get everything in one place and really start building that out. So thanks for your patience on that. And please let us know if you have any feedback related to the articles we post or related to patching, or you want to understand more about how patching is done with Robot Cloud. It is complex. There's lots of things to patch. There's lots of ways to patch. I think we've tried them all, and I think we have something that works really well, but it can often depend on your location, your situation, on exactly how that gets executed. And because we're talking about security and patching, Chad, are you still on the call? 'Cause I know you got a time frame.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. I want to mention to Robot Cloud customers, because you may not know this, and we touched on it a bit with the Forget Computers team. Chad is here in town. Chad is a security expert, and we have been working really hard together to build what's called a cyber resilience diagnostic for smaller businesses. And when I say smaller businesses, I mean those businesses that don't have enterprise security teams in-house working on this stuff 24/7. So I'm throwing it out there to all of our Robot Cloud customers because you might want to take advantage of Chad's services, working directly with him. Because everything that Robot Cloud delivers for us has a lot of security features built into it, but they're often not enabled or not turned on because security, frankly, can be a pain for people, right? It's like locking your front door can be a pain if you go in and out of your door a lot. So you have to balance it with, well, I'm going to put a lock on my door, but I'm only going to lock it when I really need to. And the security policies are kind of the same way. We can lock things, but if you're going in and out of that door every day, that's going to be really inconvenient. So we don't want to surprise anyone with this stuff, and that's where the cyber resilience diagnostic comes in. You get buy-in from your customers about what security is important to them, and then we use the Robot Cloud tools to help you execute on that. Did I summarize that well, Chad? What do you think?
Yeah, it's cultural. I mean, it's hard to unleash changes, big or small, to people, an audience of people in a small office or larger office environment. It's the same. It's still just people, and giving them the proper setup, really, and the tools and the thinking, and giving them some buy-in to talk about how that's going to be done and what things are really required right now and what things should maybe be addressed later, and incorporating those into information security policies and procedures. The success that we have with this is exponentially greater when there's some planning and some intention behind it, like you said, Ben.
Yeah, planning and intention, that is really key because these tools are very powerful, but without that planning and intention and testing, they can also um, make things more frustrating. So communication is key. Reach out to us if you want to accomplish something and you're not sure how. We're here to help. We're here to help with the tool and with our knowledge and experience. Nathan, is there anything else you want to add before we close this out? I know we could talk about this all day, but we've decided we're going to limit it to 15 minutes.
No, I think that sounds great. I think we've got things covered, and security's the goal here, right?
Okay, great. So I'll do a follow-up email to everyone about the opt-in or opt-out for the upcoming macOS 10, 10.13 High Sierra coming September 25th. And that's when we're all going to be excited to see this thing finally ship. And that's our call for this month. Hopefully you'll join us next month. I appreciate everyone who joined us and those of you who listened to the recording. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye.
Yeah, have a good weekend, guys. Bye.
Thank you.